Hi everyone, and welcome back to rebeccakelsey.com. Today I'm going to do my first book chat. And I'm really excited because I don't know, like what I told you guys I was really enjoying reading. A lot of you wanted to know what I'm reading, what my favorite books are, things like that, so I thought it would be really fun to share. So first I read all of my books on an Amazon Kindle. A lot of you have wondered what my favorite book is. I haven't read these books in maybe 4 to 5 years, so I need to reread them to see if they're still my favorite, but they're the ones that have always stood out the most to me, and the first one is A Handmaid's Tale. I don't remember what the author's name is. I'm sorry, but I will put the link to the actual book, the Kindle version, down below, so if you have a Kindle, or I'll also put the hardcover version as well, so if you are interested in reading that book. It's definitely a more mature novel. I read it in my senior year of high school. It was required reading where I was, and it's a very powerful book. It's really great, but it's definitely not meant for younger audiences because it has to do with a lot of mature topics. But I do love that book to death. It's A Handmaid's Tale, and it's just really powerful. I need to reread it again to see if it's still my favorite. But I was actually really happy to read that book, and it was required reading, so that you don't really feel like that too much. There's very few required reading books that I enjoyed. Now the next book, my other favorite book, I have two. I haven't read this one even longer, like 6 years or so, so I really need to reread it again to see if it's still my favorite. But it was I can't speak. It was Memnoch the Devil by Anne Rice. I just found it very interesting, and I've always been interested in that supernatural kind of stuff. So if you like supernatural vampire type books, things, demons, you may like Memnoch the Devil. I haven't read it for a really long time, so I need to reread it. So those are my two favorite, A Handmaid's Tale and Memnoch the Devil. Pretty interesting choices. Now on to what I've been reading lately. I just finished all 11 books in the Pretty Little Liars series. Finally, I feel like I've been reading them like all year, and I was just getting tired of it, but I wanted to finish the series because it's so long. But there's a new one I think coming out in November. I'm not sure. It's pretty soon, so I need to pre-order that so it'll go to my Kindle as soon as it's up. But so I really enjoyed that series, but after a certain point, like, I was just like, this series should end because their lives really suck. And I don't know, after a while I just wanted it to end, so I guess that shows how much I like it. It's definitely not a series that I would reread. If you can, if a friend of yours already has the books, then definitely try to do the Amazon Kindle lending thing, because you can lend Kindle books for 14 days. Not all publishers allow it. Like, I know I was considering reading the story that's been really popular lately. What was it called? What in the world was it called? You guys are probably killing me right now. 50 Shades of Grey. 50 Shades of Grey, I was considering reading it, and my mom read it and enjoyed it, so she said she would lend it to me, but that publisher doesn't allow people to lend books, which was really annoying because I was really interested in reading it. But I read the Kindle sample. It was 2 chapters, and I just didn't get into it, so I don't know, so I don't think I'm going to be really reading that series, which surprised me because it seemed like something that I would like, but I don't know, I just didn't get into it, and I don't feel like buying it if I didn't enjoy the first 2 chapters. I know some of you guys told me on Twitter that it's just a little slower at first so that it picks up a lot, but to read the first 2 chapters and not like it at all, I just didn't want to risk the money, so oh well. So I'm not going to be reading the 50 Shades of Grey, but I did read all of the Pretty Little Liars books up to 11, and I enjoyed it, but I don't know, like I think if I didn't buy number 12, I wouldn't really care. Most of it I just kept reading just to see how much of that plot would go into the Pretty Little Liars TV show, which I did enjoy. So that I finished that series, and I also read all 3 of the Hunger Games. I kind of took a break from Pretty Little Liars about halfway through and read all of the Hunger Games in like one weekend because it was just such an amazing series. I really enjoyed it. That's also definitely one of my favorites. I got so into it that I felt so obsessed, like more so than I did when I started reading Harry Potter, which is pretty impressive to me because Harry Potter was my favorite series, but now definitely The Hunger Games is my favorite series of books. Okay, so I read all of that, and now what I'm reading right now is I'm going back to Harry Potter. And at first I wasn't interested in rereading the series. Like, I kind of was like the kind of person that just like trained all the way through it. Like when I got number 7, Wow. I started reading it 9 a.m. the first day that it got there. Chris drove me to pick up the book. I started reading it in the car the second I got the book, and I did not put that down until 4 a.m. the next day. All I did was go to the restroom and eat. I could not stop. I just kept reading the entire series. I had to know what happened. So I finished number 7 in less than 24 hours. So that is amazing. I just have this ability to like hone in. I'm like, I need to read. So I go a little nuts. So because of that, because I kind of barrel through those books, because I just need to know what happens, I haven't really stopped to enjoy it, and I lose a lot of the detail over time, since I didn't really spend my time reading everything. So what I've started to do, because of Pottermore, pottermore.com, I love Pottermore, I decided to buy all the Harry Potter ebooks, which you can get on shop.pottermore.com, and I decided I should read as J.K. Rowling suggests. She said that the people that are starting Harry Potter for the first time, now that Pottermore is available, you should read one chapter of Harry Potter and then read that corresponding chapter in Pottermore and then continue. So that's what I've decided to do. I think that would be really fun, and I was wondering if you guys would want a book club about that, like a Harry Potter Pottermore book club. So I just read chapter 1 of Harry Potter and the Sorcerer's Stone. It's actually called Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone, but in America it's called the Sorcerer's Stone. So I started rereading it, and I actually really enjoyed it, like taking my time just reading just one chapter and not plowing through to the next one. It was actually really fulfilling, and I really enjoyed it. And I didn't remember anything from that chapter at all, because I started reading Harry Potter when I was in 8th grade, and now I just graduated college. So that's pretty crazy. I didn't remember anything at all from the first chapter, and I really loved all of the detail. So actually there's one part of the first chapter that I thought was really hilarious, so I would love to read it to you. It's just a paragraph. And when I'm done with the first book, I'll do a video explaining how I felt about the first novel and adding in all the details that I learned in Pottermore. Because Pottermore, if you don't know, is this interactive Harry Potter experience where you go through the novel and you learn more about the books and the characters than J.K. Rowling put in here. J.K. Rowling made all this new content and amazing stuff to add to kind of like just make it so like juicy. I learned so much. There's this one thing in Pottermore that explained so much background around Minerva McGonagall, and I was just like, oh my god, this is so interesting! Like, seriously, if you love Harry Potter and you're not reading Pottermore, you have no clue what you're missing. So Pottermore is kind of hard to explain though, so I'll put more information about Pottermore down below in the blog post, because this video would be way too long if I explained Pottermore as well. So this is in chapter 1. It says, Mr. Dursley, and I'm sorry if I mispronounced some of the names. Mr. Dursley stood rooted to the spot. He had been hugged by a complete stranger. He also thought he had been called a muggle, whatever that was. He was rattled. He hurried to his car and set off for home, hoping he was imagining things, which he had never hoped before because he did not approve of imagination. I don't know why, I just thought that was so funny. He's like, I'm hoping that I'm just imagining things, but I don't approve of imagination. I don't know, I just thought that was really funny. So anyway, that is all the books that I'm currently reading. I'm rereading the Harry Potter series and collaborating it with Pottermore in a book club about that. I think that would be really fun. Thank you guys so much for watching. Those are my favorite books, what I've been reading lately and what I'm reading now. If you have any requests, let me know, and if you have any questions for me, I want to do a question and answer series, so make sure to leave any questions you have down below. If you want advice with something, I may do an advice series as well, so make sure to post all that down below. And if you have any suggestions, this is a lot of things you gotta post. If you have any suggestions for a title for a question and answer series or an advice series, let me know that as well in the comments. I would love to get back to all of you, and I'd love to do a question and answer series. So thank you for watching. Bye. You've got me running to the